Hello. Very, very sorry about how I'm having to record this. I've injured my back. But I'm a YouTuber. I have a YouTube channel. Uh, I'm starting a YouTube channel mainly to do with fan fiction, but that's besides the point. It's a YouTube channel celebrating fan fiction. So um, I'm from the UK and I'm black, obviously. But the reason I'm lying down like this is because I've injured my back very badly, and I can barely walk at the moment, and think I may need to go to hospital at some point as well. Um, but I felt I had to say something about recently what I saw, a very, very disgusting, awful video that I saw come out of America, and I wanted to just do a reaction to the whole kind of episode and just some thoughts on it. I was rendered when I first saw it completely speechless. I immediately edited together a video kind of tribute and to George Floyd and his family. My thoughts go out to them, and I was looking at other videos, other responses, and other people. So I just want to explain. I think everyone who's watching this knows what happened, but just as a recap, a man was arrested by the police for handing in a $20 bill, allegedly, by the way, because a lot of news stations seem to refuse to want to use the word allegedly, and a lot of YouTubers seem to want to just assume that this guy did a crime. Maybe it makes their lives easier or something, even though it's completely irrelevant considering what was seen on the video. So he was the owner of the shop called the police because he thought that the $20 that was handed in to him was actually a a forgery or a counterfeit note. And then the police, I think it was 2 or 4 police, arrived on the scene. They dragged him out of his car. He didn't seem to be resisting at all. From every camera angle we can see, he wasn't resisting. And this is something very, very important, and I might edit this in to this reaction, because this is an incredibly important fact that people aren't taking into consideration. If you look at the way this man was handcuffed, just watch the way he is handcuffed. That this is very, very significant, because this is a very, very typical police trick, and I can tell you this as a black person, right, who has been handcuffed and arrested, and a policeman tried to shatter my knee once. Luckily I was quick enough, but I was told after that the force at which he tried to whack me with a baton around my knee would have shattered it, and I was only age 14 at the time. Okay, so and for walking along the street, by the way, this is what my crime was: walking along the street with I think I was playing like a little, like it was a sword game or something, with the line that you hang your clothes with. So I found that somewhere on the street, and I was walking around with that with a friend next to me. and a plainclothes police officer, white guy, just runs up to, anyway, runs up on me. This isn't important about me anyway, but because I don't want to portray British police in the same light as American police. But just to finish the story, he ran up to me, and we, being 14 years old, saw some white guy running up to us with what seemed to be a weapon, and we started running, which gave him was reason enough for him to swing at me. Then eventually he called out police, and when we heard police, we both stopped running, and then put like our hands up or whatever, and we'll say oh sorry, and he ran up to us and he swung his baton at our knee, at my knee. I was quick enough to just dodge it, and then he put me down on the ground, and I was like, look, I'm sorry, I didn't know you were police, and etc., etc., and the story went on. But in any case, the reason I'm telling you that story, it was this story and another story where this happened to me, is because the way police put on handcuffs, they can force you to get in a excited state, right? So people are saying that this George Floyd may have been on drugs, again, allegedly. So let's just say I was not on drugs. I was not drinking. I wasn't doing any of that when I was when police put handcuffs on me, and they put it in such a way that it was very, very awkward around the wrists, and like very tight, and like chafing on your bone, okay? And it feels like you're being stabbed several times in the wrist, and you're twisting your wrist, and it causes you to go into a panic, like this sharp pain. So even if at a certain point, you know, you are kind of resisting because you're shouting and you're animated, like, please get these handcuffs, you know, to stop, like, you're like, it's like, you know, it's so fucking painful that you go into a panic. And you do end up looking like you're resisting when you're just trying to say, look, you don't have to put the handcuffs on in this way where your wrists are like this. Okay? So I want to show this scene of the police officer doing this. Because if he did seem to shout or resist at some point, I can see by the way the handcuffs are on this man's hand that this police officer, and don't tell me, oh, you think this police officer wouldn't do that, because this cop would do that. That's the type of cop that, not every time a police officer has put handcuffs around my hand, and it's been very few times, but like it's happened, but when they put it around my hands, I know the difference between like when they just put it around your hands to make sure that you can't do anything or move, and when they do it to like fuck with you, to make it very, very painful, and it causes some people, it certainly caused me to be like, and I was completely calm until the moment they put the handcuffs on me, and I was in so much fucking pain that I was like, like, get these off of me. Or like loosen them, and I was like panicked, animated because of that. And it's not, that somebody can do that, thinking that by shouting and saying you're in pain, that doesn't legitimize that you will be sentenced to death right there and then by the idiot who's doing this to you. Like just going, like the handcuffs are like too fucking tight. You can't put the handcuffs on like that. Like it feels like my wrists are being broken. That's how they put the handcuffs on this man's hand. Anyway, let's move on from there. So if there was any resistance there's a blank spot in this video between when when he wasn't resisting, and when he, when the guy has, which is eventually what's going to happen, has his knee on his neck. right? So he's got his knee on his neck, a blank spot. We don't know what happened, and I do believe in due process. I believe in everyone being innocent before innocent until proven guilty. But what happened in this moment, no matter what this guy did to him, I mean, this guy could have killed this person's daughter, right? Or raped somebody he knew, right? But as a police officer, it's your job to, which he didn't do. Obviously, we know that he didn't do anything that terrible. But like, whatever this man did, and I'm not saying black or white, I'm saying whatever this man did, right? What happened on the ground for that 10 minutes where he is choking this guy out in a ninjutsu move that cuts off the airwave in your neck. Jujitsu, pardon me, move that cuts off the airwave in your neck. Whatever the guy did prior to that, it does not matter. As a police officer, right? Even if it was a citizen who was just angry and, was, because this guy had done some harm to them before and they were reacting to it. If you have it on film that for 10 minutes, while people are begging you to get off the man's neck, and you are putting the full weight of your body on his neck, stopping him from breathing, that's murder. And that isn't because here's the thing, right? I'm going to do a separate video and look this up, because I didn't look this up immediately. Here's the thing about this. They have now charged the police officer who did this, because here's who I think should be charged. The police officers who were standing around, Tweedledum and Tweedledee, the fucking Asian guy. Then there were two other officers who were also leaning against his body off camera where you couldn't see. And they basically waited there for like 10 minutes while this guy executed. Public execution. A public execution, right? So they're leaning on this guy's body. All four of them should be charged and arrested. And I'll tell you who else needs to get fucking punished, because nobody's mentioning this. The EMTs who arrived on the scene need to get fucking punished as well, because they are the only people who could have safely grabbed this guy, the policeman, off that guy. And when they arrived on the scene, they let this guy continue with his knee on the neck of this man for a good at least a minute or 2 minutes more, with his knee over this guy's airwave. And they know that. So the EMTs were the only people, realistically, because the rest of the people are looking at this violent cop who they are begging. I think they're even brave to have done what they did, which was stick around and videotape it and shout at the guy to get off. I'm going to be honest with you. I think in my heart of hearts, I hope that some bravery, some will beyond, imagination would have got me to do more than just call an ambulance. But, and say, hurry, quick, hurry. And I've got to tell you, but let me finish this bit. So, some will would have got me to try and stop this guy. But the fact of the matter is, you'll get shot. These guys would have shot you. You would have died along with George Floyd if you had have tried to stop that police officer murdering a man on the street, which is your legal, this is our legal and moral duty as human beings, to see if somebody is murdering someone on the street, to try and stop it in any way possible that we can. If they've got a gun or a knife and it's too dangerous for you, you should be able to call the police. But what are you going to do in that scenario, and call EMTs and stuff like that? You should be able to make noise, get people, to help you, do something. But like, obviously, if you're putting yourself in danger, this is not good. But if it's the police doing it, you should, as a civilian, have the ability to be able to go up to that police officer and grab him off that person. But you can't in America. You can't do that because they will fucking shoot you. It's fine. I have to admit, I said some bad stories about British police officers, but by and large, the British police officers, I'm not going to say they're good or bad, but they're better trained. And the more recent ones are definitely, I would say, less racist than when I was growing up. There's still people on that police force who have power trips and will, arrest people in kind of obnoxious and horrible ways, and do things that are, that they're on power trips with, when they think that a kid comes from the bad side of the tracks, they'll still do things that are not, great to them. But I know 99.99999% of the time, no matter how much of an attitude they have to the kid, no matter how much of a bad attitude they have in real life, they are trained in such a way that they're not going to end up killing this person. And I will give that to the police forces, not only in the UK, but in a lot of Europe as well. You do not see this kind of thing with people dying like this, because the people are trained properly. So, in any case, so you've got a fucking problem. and I think you know it, and the streets are burning because of it. And I had to come out on and talk about this because I've seen gruesome stuff before in terms of what the police do. And I have to mention one thing as well, because it's important. I usually just get frustrated and just don't want to look. I want to hide my head in the sand and not say anything about these matters. But because there's just so many awful injustices going on in the world, right? And I don't want it to be just, I'm just looking out for my own skin color and all of that. I don't need to. I see myself as a person before being black. Yes, I'm black and I'm proud of it, and I wouldn't give it up for to be anything else. But I see myself as a person first. I don't see myself as male or straight or black or any of that. I just see myself as a person. It's the world that forces me to see myself as black and to conduct myself in a way that is weary of the dangers and challenges I face being a black person, okay, and a black male, because I don't think of myself in the same scary way that everyone else thinks of me, as some potential threat to them, when I don't even give a shit that they exist. I don't care about them. All I care about is my own fucking stuff, my family stuff, and some social issues that I care about. I don't care enough about like whether they're driving a Mercedes or doing this or that or whatever. I don't want your shit. I want my shit. Alright? And so people thinking of me as a threat, women thinking of me as a threat. This is what happens when I go to clubs, to parties, or whatever. I have every once in a while some chick thinking of me as some kind of threat, and it's just bullshit. And like some gallant white guy coming up to me thinking he's like protecting his white woman or whatever. All of that shit that I go through. I don't think of myself like that. My friends are from Asian, white, everything. I don't care about any of that, but I am forced to think of myself as black because of the presentation I have to the rest of the world. Okay? But in America, it's even fucking worse. I can't imagine, and I am so sorry to the family and to everyone, like the blacks that are going through this in America. And I usually don't talk about it because it depresses me too much to know that my brothers and sisters are, abroad are being treated like this, like fucking animals. It hurts my heart, and I just can't deal with it, so I blind myself to it. And it's the same, and I have to mention this because I've been researching this before I did this video a little bit about the videos I have seen regarding Palestinians and the way they've been treated. I don't know if these are in like years past, so I haven't been catching up with a lot of that story. But the Palestinians as well, this needs to be mentioned, inhumanly treated as well. And there are other, places where this is happening. But what I saw was on this particular one, and why I had to speak, was the most brazen public execution I have ever seen, which it transcends black and white. It transcends it transcends your political background, whether you're Republican or Democrat or a Trump pie or whatever. It transcends all of that because it was a public execution. This wasn't the key of the moment, all the bullshit narratives that they can try and put, because even now they're trying to spin this, that there might be extra evidence, exculpatory evidence, that will lead us to understand what that cop did more. There is no exculpatory evidence that can arise for a man leaning his full body on a person, full body weight on a person, and cutting off their airwaves for 10 minutes. That doesn't tell me, no matter what the person did before, that they weren't trying to murder them, or they weren't aware that this action could lead to this person's death at that particular moment. And so now they are charging this cop with only third-degree murder and manslaughter. Manslaughter shouldn't even come into the conversation. Look, you can say he was doing what he was trained to as a police person. Okay, let's assume like their training is fucking horrible, and they haven't thought that somebody might abuse this thing. The fact is, once you have people telling you, right? So first degree with intent to murder, with murder as a forethought, right? So once people are shouting at him, you're killing this guy. You're a bum. You're killing this guy. He's limp right now. Check his pulse. That means that they have given that police officer awareness, even if he wasn't prior aware that what he was doing could kill this person. Those people now provided a pretext in which the person now understands the action that they are doing at this moment could kill them, and that it probably had killed him at that point, because they were pointing out to him that he has not moved, that the man has peed himself, that blood is coming out of his nose. So that whole, I don't know how you can arrive at manslaughter and third degree. It makes no sense. No one, if it was any other context, any way around, if somebody, a person that did, if somebody had come out and they just robbed the guy, right, and they were trying to escape, and the person ran away, and they chased this robber down, and they got him, and they got him in the same position as that police officer. And then people came around him and said, okay, you've got the guy now. Say he somehow, I don't know, he has handcuffs or something, so the guy's hands are tied behind his back as well. And people come around saying, look, okay, you've got the guy now, you've got him, he's out, he's fainted, that's murder. That is murder as well. And that, you can't have a second degree murder, because, second degree murder is you do it in the heat of the moment. You walk in, your wife's cheating on you, you somehow happen to have a gun or a knife, and you just jump on. And then you realize what you've done the second after, and you're like, oh shit, I need to call the police, or I need to do something because I can't believe what I've fucking done. Like, it wasn't thought out prior. It was just the heat of the moment, anger in the. You can't have that for fucking 10 minutes while people are telling you you're murdering the person in front of you. You can't have that. It's impossible. They are telling him, and he is understanding what they are saying. And he is, in my mind, apart from the sick look that he had in his eye, this wasn't a guy seeing red. This was a guy calm and in control and enjoying torturing the individual underneath him. And that's another component to this. There must be a law, I don't know exactly what it is, against torturing an individual, because he was torturing him as well. There are more charges apart from first degree murder that should be levied against this guy. There's charges for torture as well that need to be spoken about, and other things. I mean, reckless disregard for a human being, or there's got to be a ton of laws that he broke, not just the ones, because when you go and you see other people in court, and there's the main charge, and they'll usually look. A perfect example of this is the O.J. Simpson case. Not the first one, but the second one, where he robbed these people in Las Vegas. So he was done for robbery, he was done for kidnapping, he was done for like a series of different charges surrounding the biggest charge of kidnapping. Was a number of different other charges that he was given. They threw the book at OJ the second time round, right? Anyway. But this particular thing is the same thing. There are more charges to be levied against this guy. I'm sure there's a charge even for if someone is trying to, like the threat that he gave to the person in the process of him murdering someone, and somebody is trying to prevent him from murdering someone. There must be a law against if you're murdering someone and someone tries to prevent you from murdering them, right? That there should be a law that prohibits you from trying to stop somebody, so that is an extra sentence you get as well. I mean, it is all kinds of messed up. Really all kinds of messed up. And the reason I haven't recorded anything before is because my back is just, I don't know, I can't get up. But I feel so passionately about this that I had to actually come up here and say something, because it's bullshit. Third degree fucking murder. And you're wondering why your cities are fucking burning down. And no, I don't advocate that kind of violence. And I'll be honest with you, a lot of people are talking about death penalty. I don't even want the death penalty for this guy. But what I do want, and I think that people need to be talking about this, is ensure this guys and these police officers are on suicide watch. Because his wife has left him. Imagine doing something so fucking evil, so fucking sickening, And that's why I said this transcends white and black, because I see not enough, by the way, not nearly enough, but I at least see some white people outraged by this and speaking up. And it's transcended. More white people and less of them even trying to make excuses for this. They can see straight up this is murder, and yeah, there's talk about systematic injustice, and it is representative of that, and there's talk about, oh, you know, most cops are good and all of this kind of stuff. You know, take that out of the fucking window, because there were 4 fucking cops there. There were 4 fucking cops, and there is human psychology. And when you have that kind of power over people, a lot more, you know, you can't tell me 99% of your cops are good. You've got a rotten fucking fruit. I would give you 50% at best were fucking good cops. At best. The rest of them would be, I'm sure, with the power I saw that man wield, and not even worry that he, and rightly so, because, you know, look, they've got a 3rd degree charge against this man, and manslaughter, 2 charges that could see this man one day walk free, and not in a very not in a quite short period of time as well. So the look of power and whatever, and yes, I think this man might have been psychopathic and sociopathic, but I also think the sociopathic and psychopathic rules and training that is obviously given to your officers are combined with this man's own fucking psychopathy. And God knows if the guy was racist, but I think, you know, if it walks like a fucking rat and looks like a fucking rat, it's probably a fucking rat. Okay? So, you know, essentially, it's fucking hard for me to, like, really keep my emotions intact and try and comprehend what you're seeing there. If you are a human being, what you saw there should just leave you fucking speechless. I mean, you know, you've got fucking terrorists, like, who don't have the fucking nuts to do that fucking shit. A public execution of that level with such, you know, such bravado and a look of pure pleasure as he's torturing this man, who put himself at this person's mercy, because I can assure you, George Floyd would have knocked that fucking guy the fuck out if he wasn't fucking handcuffed behind his hands. He couldn't take him without using his power and authority to, so that this man is entrusted him to let him put his hands behind his back so that he can get out of this situation. And then that guy uses that to then fucking, you know, put him in a torture fucking hold. So there's a few things I wanted to say. So, first of all, these cops need to be on suicide watch, because I want to know why exactly they did this. I want to hear why exactly they did this. And I want it to get to a point where they can't fucking, you know, they can't say that they plead the fifth. You know, I need it to, they need to, and it needs to be televised. I want to see the whole fucking thing, gavel to gavel. Why these men did this. And I don't want any of them fucking committing suicide, and specifically that fucking cop. I want him on suicide watch. And yeah, as I said, I'm against the death penalty. I don't want him getting the death penalty. I think life in prison is good enough, and maybe one day he will reflect and hopefully become a better man, or just die a KKK member in prison where he fucking deserves to be. Okay, the death penalty, as far as I'm concerned, is part of the problem in America, and why, you know, these people are so vicious on these fucking streets. Fucking animals. The cops, I mean. And so, and yes, okay, so I think this guy should be on suicide watch. Do not let him pull a fucking, what's his name, the billionaire who recently fucking committed suicide in jail, Epstein. Don't let this guy pull a fucking Epstein on us. We want him there to explain to us why he used that tactic, because I suspect it is a lot to do with his fucking training, which does then show a systematic problem that these fucking guys in these police stations are training police to execute minorities. Because if there wasn't a camera there, this is the kind of shit this guy does, and this guy has done this fucking before. He has done it before. This isn't his first time. That wasn't his first rodeo. The guy looked as if he was going to have an orgasm as he was twisting his knee into this guy's neck. So there's that. What else do I want to say? Okay, so about resisting arrest, they tell black Americans they shouldn't resist arrest. This proves why they should resist arrest if they haven't done anything. This proves that not resisting arrest may be your death in these scenarios. So all these white people saying, oh, they shouldn't have resisted arrest, they shouldn't have fucking run away. This proves it. There's no more argument of that. I'm not saying that, I'm not, encouraging black kids or, anybody who's watching this who's black and in America. I'm not encouraging you to, resist cops. But what I'm saying is philosophically now, theoretically, you cannot use that argument anymore on the other side, who somehow try and blame the victims of these terrible crimes for their murders and executions. Because what we've seen now is a man that at least didn't resist being handcuffed. If he resisted after, he didn't resist being handcuffed. So whatever reason between being handcuffed and taken to the car that led to the next scenario, we know he didn't resist being handcuffed. But it was being handcuffed and being helpless that led to his execution. So how can you tell a black kid or anybody who wants to continue living their young life that they shouldn't resist an American officer handcuffing them behind their back? Because that is their only fucking protection against them. This proves it. You can no longer afford to blanketly say, just entrust a police officer to put a handcuff you behind your back. If you feel, if there has to be a new thing, according to this guy and what he's done, that if you feel in danger, if you feel that the cop is unreasonable, that he seems like a racist, if he says something like nigger to you or any of that kind of stuff, you have to be able to say that they can resist to some degree arrest. Because this is messed up. Or use the N-word. I'm sorry, I'm using a lot of bad language. I can't move. And last but not least, there's got to be some form of way that people can actually say to the police, if they see something like this happening, if they see somebody being murdered in the streets, they have to be able to say, there has to be a way for us to, for people to be able to challenge what they're seeing and to actually come out and say, look, we're not going to let you kill this person, and push them off, or without being shot. There has to be a way to do this, to challenge police officers' authority in this way if they're so irresponsible with people's lives. This man has done this before. He has killed other people. And so I'm going to say, just lastly, that we've got to see this, in court. I'm sorry to the family. My heart goes out to them. I'm angry. It's just got to stop. I mean, racism, it's just so stupid. We're just like you. We're no fucking different. We're not special. We're not better sports people. We're not smarter. We're not dumber. We're not, there's no fucking difference apart from the hue of our fucking skin. And if there is a big, because I know there's a lot of crime caused by blacks supposedly in America and in other places, maybe you ought to look at how you're treating those people. Maybe you ought to look at how invested in society that those people are. Because maybe the reason they're acting like that, if you tell a kid, oh, you're a bright, good boy, that kid is going to internalize that idea of himself and try and live up to that. And there's a reward system in the brain for acting in those ways, for acting as a good kind of, kid. If they're treated as a threat and a danger from the time that they are children, they will see themselves as threats and dangers. They will internalize that and become the things that you fear. So, and in terms of this riots, which I am not for, but I want every white person who keeps on saying, oh, how can they do this to their own city? How can they do this to whatever? To think about the question that you're asking. How can they? Stop thinking about the city element. Think about the opening part. How can they? Which is really what you're asking is, why are they? And it's a good question. And then ask yourself, what would it take for me to want to burn down my city? What would have to have happened to me to feel the need to burn and break and destroy? And it's not just black people who are doing it in America as well. I've seen the pictures and of those riots and stuff like that are happening. There are white folks in there as well. Think to yourself, what would make somebody, because I wouldn't do that, because I've been, my life has been fine. Grew up as a middle-class black kid, have some investment in society. Yeah, I've had some race issues and whatever, but it's not so intolerable that I would be part of a kind of arbitrary militia, burning down my own streets. But I know that that there have been times in my life where if certain things hadn't happened and certain positive role models hadn't come into my life, I could have gone down dark paths that a lot of young black men can go down. And if I had have gone down those paths and society had have treated me in the ways that those black people are treated, then there's a possibility that I would feel like burning, because I half can even understand it from just a little bit of racism and feeling that I am secondary, that I am less than, that they feel. So I can even understand a little bit of wanting to fucking just burn everything down and not give a crap about anything because it doesn't give a crap about me. But there, times that by 10 times the magnitude. So I want every white person asking that question, ask, what would it take? Would it take that somebody had killed someone in your family? That a cop had shot somebody? That cop hadn't got justice? That cop laughed and smirked at you in court? That you never get the job, that you want, that you're forced into poverty and despair, that you can't look after your children, that you can't afford to have children or a family. How little investment must you have in society to want to burn it to the ground? That's what you need to ask yourself. So when you say, how can they do this? How can they do this? Ask why, and then ask the second question, because you all know that there is something that could happen to you, that or something that could have happened to you, that given those circumstances, you would want to tear down society too. The reason you don't want to tear down society, the reason that people who ask that question say it and they don't want to tear down society, is because the society benefits them and they know it. So they're like, why would you want to burn something that benefits me down? Understand what it means for your society not to benefit you automatically. Try and understand that perspective, and then try and understand, how far would it have to go? How far would your society have to go that it doesn't benefit you, that it imprisons you, that it arrests you, that it treats you like crap every day, that you're not given a proper education, you're sent into a school that is basically preparing you for prison, that half your people, your dad, your cousins, your brothers are incarcerated in jail, sometimes for crimes they didn't commit, killed by cops, laughed at by cops, mocked and ignored by news and media. There is no escape for them. And that's why the streets are burning down. I don't condone it. But you ask the question, how can you burn down your own city? I've just given you the fucking answer. That's the answer. Think to yourself, what would make me do that? Is there anything that would make me do that? And I bet you, if you think, oh, my wife got, killed, or my husband got killed, or my brother got killed, or put in prison, or or something, and like my whole life is in chaos because of the system. It's like every day waking up is a punishment. If your life was like that, would you be willing to burn down like a shop or a police station? Would you? I think you might. So that's my rant. I have, again, a tribute, whatever that means. And I hope you enjoy, well, not enjoy, just think about. I've written a song, and it's about my experience as a black person and how I, kind of grew up and I just thought it really kind of fit the kind of existential insanity of the experience, the kind of highs and lows of being black in a society where you are the most hated and feared thing in reality, and all you are is just like everybody else, a confused, sentient being trying to understand the universe and trying to go about understanding how you can achieve your own happiness. That's all we are. Trying to understand why we're here, why bad things or good things happen to us, and how we can achieve our own happiness. We're just like you. Alright, that's it. And here's the tribute. Thanks. Bye.